tried to film a video for Sexual Assault Awareness Month. It has been on my mind. I have felt called to do it. I just haven't produced something that has felt aligned. At first, I recorded a video of me talking about being raped. And I do have a podcast episode where I talk about my experience, and I think that it's very valuable to speak up about the experience. But I also believe that sometimes we stop just at the experience. We look at it in a box to say, yes, this really traumatic thing has happened to you, but what comes after? No one really talks about what comes after. No one really talks about the ways in which you change, because trauma changes you. It changes your brain. It changes how you express yourself. It changes a lot of things. So instead of going through the event, I want to talk about the things that happened to me after. And I'm doing this because, well, my intention is that it finds someone who is currently struggling with their own pain and shame and guilt related to their own sexual abuse. Sexual assault is a spectrum. The second that you are not, that you say no and that falls upon deaf ears, that's not listened to, that is when it becomes assault. I just want to make that clear. If you're not consenting to it and it's not something that you want to do, then it is assault. Every single degree of sexual assault is valid. I feel as though a lot of people say, oh, well, it wasn't that bad. This worse things have happened to other people. And I don't want you to devalue your experience, because someone breaking your boundaries is going to affect you. Doesn't matter the degree of the offense, it is still going to affect you. So after I was raped, the first thing that happened, the first encounter that I had with someone after was with a friend, and I had texted them saying, hey, I think this happened. I was sure it had happened. I remembered what had happened, but I told this person, I think that this happened. And they told me, basically shot it down and said that that's a big accusation, and that it probably wasn't that, diminishing what I felt. And I was also going to church every Sunday and going to youth group on Fridays and possibly going to Bible study on Wednesdays, so I was going to church a lot. And there was a lot of shame and guilt. And because it had happened at a party and I was very, very drunk, I had a lot of shame saying, well, I shouldn't have gone to the party and I shouldn't have gotten drunk. I shouldn't have been drinking. And basically blaming myself for it. And I was also in school and I was using my lectures, my exams, just that commitment to school as an excuse, or at least using it as permission to push that feeling away. But it didn't go away. I would be at school, doing what I have to do on campus, whatever, and then I remember I would just have spontaneous breakdowns. I remember I had a statistics class, and it was close to the end of the class, and I was holding back my tears in class, and all I could do was, as soon as it was time, I had to just make my way out quickly to the washroom because there were tears in my eyes. The tears were falling. I couldn't hold them. I would be on my way home crying. Before I go to bed, I'm crying, just constantly crying. And I felt like I was broken because I was trying to convince myself that I deserved it. And because of that, there was this dissonance between what I was telling myself and what was happening. The person that assaulted me even told me verbatim, that's not what happened. And they denied it. And when someone is the only person that experienced something with you, the only person that would be able to verify that something had happened and they deny it, it makes you really second guess yourself. Because I know that if I had wanted it, I remember saying no many times, but I know that if I had wanted it, then it would not have affected me, and it would not continue to affect me right now. So I spent a very long time pushing it away. And because I had school, it was easy. I had all these other things to focus on, but it was affecting me. I spent a lot of time very numb. I really like clocked out of life. And I think at one point I was just like, fuck it. It doesn't matter. No one's gonna listen to my no anyway. And I was in, the best way I can describe it is mental disarray. And I was doing a lot of not so great things. I was honestly trying to remove myself from the earth because the pain felt too large, and it felt like no one was listening and no one could understand, and it was just a lot for me to handle. And it really did change me. It really did shift who not who I thought I was. I think it shifted my perception of myself, and I stopped looking in mirrors for a very long time. I felt like everyone could see it on me. I felt like everybody knew. I realized that although I love fashion and I've always been artistic in the way that I dress, and I used to do a lot of eye makeup, and I remember I was working in retail and it was fun to dress up, yes, but I was using the way that I dressed and my makeup to distract other people from what was actually going on. Instead of getting, oh, you look tired, you look sad, people would look at you and say, oh my God, I love your shirt, I love your makeup, your eyeliner is so cool, your lashes, etc., etc. So that was something that I was hiding behind. When I started talking about this, I thought that talking about it would make it better. I thought that sharing my story would help to ease some of the pain. And it helps in some ways, but doesn't necessarily lift anything if you are still internalizing and you are still punishing yourself and you are still trying to prove. You're still trying to prove that you are worthy, and then you begin to settle in places and with people that are not aligned with you, but because you no longer feel worthy of the things that you desire, you kind of just accept and you just sort of settle. And I'm now coming to terms with the fact that this is a really, really big thing. And it's not just one isolated act. This was somebody that I would call an acquaintance, sort of. And they continued to assault and harm me in many, many ways. And at first, I wanted to get revenge. At first, I was like, I want you to feel this pain that I'm feeling. I want you to see that I'm suffering. I want you to suffer like I am suffering. And kept putting myself in dangerous situations, and he kept hurting me. And I would be the one that got hurt. I would be the one that would suffer. And I remember I wrote a letter. I never gave him the letter, but I wrote a letter about my feelings, about what happened, and I remember saying that I wanted to punish myself. I think that I was punishing myself because I thought that I was bad. I thought that maybe I was trying to convince myself that I did deserve it. I put myself in a lot of dangerous situations. It's hard when you want so badly to see the human side of people. I tried to convince myself that maybe he was just drunk and maybe he just didn't hear me, or I don't know. I tried to convince myself something. I think I was waiting for an apology. I think I was waiting for him to say, yeah, this fucking sucks. I'm sorry, but obviously that never came. I'm saying all of this to say that even if the things that you do after being assaulted, if they sound irrational to other people, if they sound stupid to other people, if they say, why would you do that? That's so dumb. Why would you put yourself in danger again? You are responding to something that you haven't yet processed. Something that you may be running from, and it may take years for you to really accept that it has happened, and to accept that it's not your fault, and to accept that you deserve to close that chapter. And it is not an easy thing. It is not an easy chapter. It is not an easy thing to remember. Every year, on the anniversary of it, I feel like garbage. Even the days leading up, they say the body keeps the score. The body really does keep the score. I feel it in my bones, and whatever you're feeling about this really traumatic event is so valid. And please do not minimize your pain. Do not minimize how you feel about it. Don't minimize the sadness. If you're angry, be angry about it. If you're sad, be sad about it. have to forgive yourself for silencing your pain. You have to forgive yourself for punishing yourself. You have to forgive yourself. It is a journey that comes with a lot of things. It's a journey of grief and a journey of acceptance and forgiveness and finding peace and rediscovering yourself. It's a journey of rediscovering self-love and gratitude. It's a journey of seeing yourself as a worthy human again. The first step is telling yourself that you love you and that it wasn't your fault. And it wasn't your fault. It wasn't my fault. So because we are here, there's an opportunity for things to get better. But we have to practice every day. We have to practice trusting ourselves. We have to practice loving ourselves, being there for ourselves, not betraying ourselves. But we can do this. We have more strength than we think we do. We can do this. Yeah. So, I love you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for giving yourself space to grieve. I love you, and I will talk to you in the next video.